Well, hello and welcome. Joyce Odidison here, and I want to share with you one quick secret. Burnout, is it the antidote for it's really is it, right? Is burnout something that you're struggling with at work? Well, is passion the antidote for burnout? This is one of the questions that I want us to ask today. Most people think that passion is a hobby. It's probably something that we feel or we have a career choice and we have a passion for it, or just something you love doing. Maybe they see you spend a lot of time doing something. But what if I told you that passion is actually one of the most overlooked antidotes for burnout? Would you agree with me? Would you be curious to know why? Because the truth is, when you lose your passion, you lose your energy. And when you find your passion, you gain your resilience. So today we're going to uncover why passion may be such an underrated element for burnout fix. Because the truth is, we are facing a burnout fix, and we need a burnout fix, really. We're facing a burnout challenge, and we need to start thinking about how can passion help us. You see, one of the things that I've done in my work is created the well-being intelligence system. And this model allows us to identify the 9 dimensions of well-being and be able to identify the little elements within each dimensions that makes up our well-being, that builds our resilience. So today on my podcast, we're going to look at just one of them, passion. Is passion the antidote for burnout? Or is it a burnout fix that we haven't spent enough time looking at? And I think we have. There's some research that shows, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But when I work with leaders and they're telling me, Joyce, I just can't do it anymore, I don't feel it, I start to look at, okay, where has the passion gone? What has happened to your passion? And why are you feeling that you cannot do it anymore? You see, one of the things that we're running right now is the burnout fix. This is that resilience catalyst for professionals that help them to start finding their way, finding their passion again, and connecting back to the things they love. So if you are feeling passionate at work, if you're feeling that you've lost your passion, I want you to tell me, do you feel passionate about your work? Because we will go into, well, how do I know if I lose my passion? How do we feel about our work? Do we have passion? And if I don't feel any passion, Joyce, can I rekindle that passion? And that is something that we can do in our work, right? So, do you feel passionate about your work? If not, it's not totally over. You can do something about it. You can rekindle that passion. It's not too late. It's something that we can do. So let's talk about why I think passion is the antidote for burnout. Because I have been doing some research, and it is actually seen that passion can be an antidote. So take a look at this slide that I'm sharing with you. And it's talk about why is passion an antidote? Because when you lose passion, you lose energy. Energy. Thank you, Jenny. You feel passion. You couldn't do it without having. Absolutely. Because passion gives you energy. When you lose passion, you lose energy. Absolutely. And when you find your passion, you gain resilience. It is so important for us to recognize that because there's such a big connection. But really, how did I come about this? Well, as a conflict analyst and as someone who've created the 9 dimensional well-being assessment, I was able to work over the last 28 years to develop the 9-dimensional well-being assessment. And in here, we have some little elements to build passion. So what we're going to do, we're going to explain. I You do have fine passion some days. You know what? It's not all, you're very correct, right? You also have passion some days. There are some days we lose our passion. Does that mean you've lost all your passion? No. What I've been seeing in the research is that there are ways that we can rekindle our passion. And I'm going to share that with you because once we've learned how to rekindle passion, we have won the battle. It's about rekindling that passion and getting it to that place where we are actually able to feel energized at work again, to feel that we have the ability to do the work that we've been called to do in a passionate way. We don't have to stay burned out. According to Gallup research, 76% of employees 76% of employees are experiencing burnout. And in addition to that, mental health claims have gone up by 300% in the last just 5 years. 5 years. So we can blame it on COVID, right? We can blame it on COVID, but it's not the only cause because the World Health Organization had already predicted that mental health was going to be the highest cause of workplace disability come 2020. And that was before we knew anything about COVID. So we can't blame it all on COVID. We have to see that passion is not just about what you do, but why you do it. And there is way to reconnect our passion and our meaning so that we can find passion again in our work. So one of the things that I've come across is some research that's helped you to learn how to balance passion because hey, anything can be too much. We can have too much passion. Our passion can get out of control. The key is balance. How do we balance that passion so we don't go overboard? So that passion is something that works for us or not against us. Because as humans, everything we have, we can destroy it. we can we can we can overdo the passion thing and we can underdo it. So let's look at how to know when you've lost your passion. And I want to share this quick slide with you because I think it's easier for you to see it when you recognize how to know when you've lost your passion. So, first thing you're going to know when you lost your passion is that you are no longer feeling that love at work. But you're going to see some key signs. You feel like work is now a burden, it's no longer a calling. Your energy is draining faster. You're having more energy drain, right? You're also finding that there is more cynicism. You've heard of compassion fatigue, right? It's when people in high stress profession, mostly in first responders, we start to see they become more cynical. They're not as upset. Of course, we don't want them falling apart all the time, but you start to see the cynicism, the lack of caring. They're not they're not showing compassion the way that we ordinary people expect them to show compassion. It's interesting because I saw that firsthand. My husband had a surgery, knee surgery, and he had gone into the hospital. Apparently, I didn't know knee surgery was the most painful surgery a person could have. And when I went to get him, he was in so much pain. This is a guy with like high pain threshold, and he was in so much pain. So I asked the nurse, I was like, "What happened? Why is he in so much pain?" "Oh, he didn't ask for pain medication." And I was like, "Oh, we have to wait until the person asks for it." And you could see they were just so stressed. They had so much. It was day surgery and they had so many going. I was like, okay, I can see what's going on here. And so we have to recognize as humans, all of us are prone to lose our passion if we overdo it. So if you're no longer seeing the connection to your values, you're no longer feeling that this is something you want to do, this is showing that you've lost your passion. You're no longer connecting to work. Then we need to talk about, so where is the balance? Where's the sweet spot? How do we find our passion? How do we get our sweet spot? How do we connect back to our passion? And we can do that by understanding that passion is something that we can feel. So there's some research, and let me share this with you. Valoran et al. Back in 2003, they did some research on passion, and they came up with what they call the dual model of passion. So dual means two, right? The dual model of passion. And this is where they start to talk about the right type of passion builds resilience, and the wrong passion can also build burnout. So whether you love your work or you're passionate about your work, you can still burn out. What we're talking about is the getting that sweet spot, that balance, that passion that fuels you, not the passion that drains you out. And that's what we're going to talk about. Because when we go and we look at the passion that fuels you, we start to learn that resilience, of course, passion helps us to build our resilience, but the other kind of passion is not doing that. So he talks about two different types of passion. He talks about harmonious passion. So they talk about harmonious passion. So what is harmonious passion? It is when you love your work, you define how it fits into your life, not the other way around, right? So I love my work, I do my work, I am passionate about my work, I have flow when I'm doing my work, I get joy in my work, and then I have energy, because we're linking energy, engagement, and well-being and passion. That goes together. But the other type of passion he talks about is obsessive passion. So when we look at obsessive passion, what does that tell? I mean, the word obsessive already tells us, right? That's when work controls your life. So you're so passionate about your work, it controls your life. You feel compelled to keep going on and working, even if you're tired, even if you're not concentrating properly, even if you know that staying that extra minute or staying that extra bit of energy is overwhelming you. It's your back is hurting, or you have a headache, you're not feeling well, but you just feel driven to work. Is that obsessive passion? And this links to conflict, exhaustion, and burnout. And yes, you're very right, Jenny. It is a red flag. That is a red flag, because we're no longer using passion to get energy. What happens now is our passion is draining our energy, and we're not able to get work done and stay well. So we have to look at both angles. As professionals, we love our work, we love what we do, but we need to set boundaries around our work and around our passion, because just all of us can go overboard. And burnout is not just about we working too much or we working too hard, because the same person with passion can work 20 hours and don't feel burned out. The same passion, the same person working without passion is exhausted after 5 hours, because you have to find that energy. You have to keep pulling on that energy, right? Too much. Jenny's saying too many mistakes if we let passion drive us to do more than we should. Yeah, it is. Because when we don't have those boundaries, passion rules us. And now, not all of us are blessed enough to have passion in our work. Not all of us are blessed enough to have work that we're really passionate about and we can do it and we get up in the morning excited. I want to do my work. I can't wait to get to the office or wherever my work is. I need to do it right away. I need to get into it. Not all of us are blessed enough with that, but there are practical ways we can ignite passion into a work. So if you're listening to me and you're saying, Joyce, I don't really feel that my job is or my work is something I'm passionate about, what do I do? How do I get that energy? This is one of the burnout fixes I want you to think about. Let's go back and revisit what drew you to your work. Did you take this job because of the pay? Then you need to become really passionate about the pay. Like it really goes back to your why. Why did you take that job? Then start looking at, this is the way, this is the gateway to what I want to, the lifestyle I want to have. And so let that fuel your energy. The other way to think about it, if there was an aspect of the job that really enticed you, maybe there are some aspects. Some people say, I had this client, she said, Joyce, I hate my job. I actually hate my job. It's monotonous. I am stuck in a back room. I don't have any light. I don't see people. So you have to find ways to now build passion and energy into your job. And then, of course, when I interviewed her, I said, so what do you do on your coffee break and lunch break? Oh, I don't take them. And I had to ask myself, so tell me something. You're in a space where you hate the environment where your job is. And when you have your legislative breaks, you stay there. Okay. So we need to stop digging a hole for ourselves. If you are in an office space, not all of us are lucky. I have the sunlight coming in from my office. I can open my window. Not all of us have that option. If you don't have that and you're in a place where the environment is not conducive, go outside, take walks, go out for the coffee. And I'm not talking about physically leaving your building, but leave the vicinity of your desk. Leave your desk, walk around the office, stand by a window. There's research that shows that sunlight builds energy. And then when you're doing that, think about the aspects of your job that you really like. Because there are sometimes it's not the whole job that you hate, it's certain aspects of the job. Because sometimes when I'm coaching clients, I have to get down granular with them. Tell me what aspect of the job that's really so deflating. When we do that, we can better understand what to fix. Otherwise, we're trying to fix the whole thing and it's aspects of it that's the problem. So we need to identify, revisit what first drew you to the work. Is it the organization? Is it your boss? Is it your coworkers? Some people like to work where they have friends. So how do you build passion around that? How do you enjoy that? How do you create those time of creativity and enjoyment? Bring curiosity back to your work. Learn to explore and innovate. What else is there? Who else? And if you're working in a job where you're saying, Joyce, you have no idea, you cannot imagine how terrible my job is, send me a put in a question or DM me and send me some description of what it is, and I'll help you find some ways to build energy around your job. Because if you're not getting energy, if you're not feeling energy to do your job, you're depleting energy. And we're energy, we're matter. And once that energy source is gone, we're gone. Right? We're only here for a time. You only have that job for a time. We only have a work career span of time to work. And you don't want to give so much of it in negative energy that there's nothing left to live. So this is serious, right? Your energy, we all have a source of energy that this is how much energy you're gonna have for the time you're on the planet. Let's not waste it on the things that are not important. Let's find creative ways to use that energy in a positive way. And the other thing you have to do is align your work with your deeper values. So if you're doing work that are totally against your values, stop. Stop. Find, go and update your resume and find a job that aligns with your values. There are so many things that we can do today to increase our income. You should not be in a job that is so totally disaligned with your values and everything that makes you happy. If that's the case, you're either settling or you've given up on yourself or you've procrastinated. You keep hoping that it's going to fix itself, and it's your job to fix it. So I want to challenge you today if that's the case. And for those of us who have normal job and you want to find your passion at work, here are some tips to find your passion at work. Most of you. Hi, Tara. Okay, so Tara is saying, very serious, zapped me into depressive moods and behavior. Yeah, that it's true. If we're not, yeah, if you're giving up too much energy, it will deplete your ability to function as an individual and to live your life. And Jenny's saying, this is such a great perspective. Do not waste your energy. Love also finding alignment with what we're doing and with our values. I'm lucky I have a great team. That is so amazing, Jenny. You're blessed. And absolutely continue to be a great team and contribute to your team. But when we don't, or if we don't, we have to do something about it because our job is not our life. And I shared with you the 9 dimensions that we work with, the 9 dimensional model. Work is just one element. You have your spiritual, your social, your emotional, your occupational, intellectual, environmental, financial, physical, and you have your interpersonal. You cannot afford to give all your energy to one dimension so that there is nothing else left to live for, because we were not created for work. We're supposed to work, and work is supposed to allow us to have an amazing life. So if that is not happening in your life, then you're playing with burnout. You're playing with your health and your well-being. You're inviting illnesses and diseases and so forth into your life. And you need to stop. I was This is my message. You need to stop. So when we're thinking about burnout fix, it's not always about our company. It's also about us as individuals. It's not necessarily our employers. It's what are we tolerating? What are we putting up with? What are we compromising and sacrificing for? And sometimes we have to do certain things just for a season. Then you need to tell yourself, I am doing this job for the next 2 years. I think that's long, but I'm going to give you a break. If you're procrastinator, I'm going to do this job for this season, but here's what I'm going to be doing in the meantime to set me up for the next best thing that's aligning with my values. So you see, when you tell yourself that and you believe that and you are actually working on that next best thing, you will not burn out as fast as someone who say, I am stuck here. I guess this is all I have to do. There will be nothing else to me. I can't believe they're treating me this way. I hate this job, right? That person is attracting burnout, disease, depression, all of that. But when you are saying this is for a season, this is not going to be longer than I give it permission to be in my life, then you are in control. And so you're now feeding energy. You're attracting new energy. You're not feeding negative energy and wasting your energy on that. So if you want to find passion in your work, it's a job that aligns with your values, but you're just not feeling that passion enough to drive and attract new energy to fuel you forward, then you need to go back and clarify your purpose. So you need to say, why do I do this? What is my why? Right? We all read that book. What's your why? What is your why? Then you need to focus on the strengths and your mastery moments. So when do you excel? For me, I work best in the morning. My mornings are sacred. That's when I have my energy. I focus. I can get up at 4 a.m. and once I'm up, I'm up. I'm wide awake. So find out when is your time and what fuels you. What's your mastery? What do you do best? We call it your genius moment. What are your genius moments? Identify those and focus most of your time on doing those things that you're really good at. And look at your job. What is your role? Go back and look at your job description. What are the responsibilities of your job description? If you like to talk and you're a good presenter or you would like to be able to facilitate, then go and look for those moments for you to develop and put it in your performance plan. Ask your leader, I would like to become better at public speaking so I can facilitate more on this topic. I can share with the sales team, I can share with the marketing team, I can share with recruitment, whatever it is. You find the connection to make your work more exciting and to build more passion around your work. That's your job. You are supposed to manage your career, not the other way around. So when you come into my sessions and you say, "Oh, my work is so boring. I just do this." What are you doing to make your work more exciting? And sometimes employees will say to me, "Oh, Joyce, such and such a person is getting all the good, they get all the good posts and they get all the good." I was like, "So what are you doing to get those posts and to get those opportunities?" You need to be your best advocate. So what are your genius of moment? Where do you show up best? What are your skills? What are your areas of excellence and genius that you can showcase? And where do you find that in your organization? And who can help you? Also, look at who in your organization. It may not be your boss. It may be somebody else. It may be another leader. It may be a colleague that gives you the opportunity to find your genius. So that's where you need to find where it is, and then you need to work it. Tell everybody, this is what I love to do. I am building my skills. Find a mentor. Find a mentor in your organization or elsewhere. Say, this is what I love to do. This is what I want to do more of. Can you show me? Or somebody who's doing something you like in the organization. Can I learn from you? Can you tell me how I can improve in this area? So you need to find that. And then, of course, you need to maintain healthy boundaries because that's important. And if you used to have passion, oh, yes, yes, I meet those leaders. They used to be passionate about their work, they used to love their job. And then something happened and they've lost their passion. You need to go back and find out why you started in the first place, what first drew you, and then you need to, because sometimes we carry these wounds, these trauma, these upsets, because this happened and this person did that. Oh, I have a new boss and they made all these changes and they've done this and that, and you let that rob you from your passion and your energy. You're giving positive energy, you're leaking vital energy in those negative hang-ups when you should be saying, okay, well, this has changed, because resilience is one of the tools we need for us to be able to accept change and move on, right? Because it's about bouncing back in all areas, mentally, emotionally. Recognize, oh, this has changed. There's new leadership, there's a new focus. How do I align? How do I still stay passionate about my work? And what do I need to do? So you can now go and look at what tasks can I redesign to create more. meaningful elements to it. Can I relook at that? But sometimes we get lazy and we get stuck in that comfort zone and we don't want to think outside the box. So something happened and it's easier to stay mad and upset about it than for us to grow and do something and change so we can have more interest in our life, more passion in our life and do our work. And Tara saying that, hey, yes, balance is so too, is so we have to balance everything. Because if you spend so much energy focusing about what you hate about your job, what is not going well, what are your leaders doing that's not working, right? Because a lot of my clients are in that mid management or mid leader level, and they're saying, I don't like what's going on in executive. They're just beating the dead horse. They don't know how to give up. They don't know how to be innovative. They don't know how to move. Well, that's energy you're wasting. It's like, where can I be innovative down here? What can I do differently? And not everybody is going to open the door for you, but find those who are. Stephen Covey in his 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, he says to work from your sphere of influence. Right? So where do you have influence? Use that influence to drive your passion and add those learning and growth opportunities. You shouldn't be in a job working that you're not learning and growing from. It's just not right. Because when we don't grow, if you're not growing, you're dying. So you need to have those learning and growth moments. And it's important for you to share that with as part of your performance improvement. This is where I need to grow. I want to grow in this area. Your boss shouldn't be the one to tell you what your growth opportunities are. You should be, I'm always amazed at how much conflict I see showing up in my caseload because of performance review. I mean, you should be looking forward to performance review because this is when you're going to show up and say, hey, I did this, I did this, I did this, I did this, because that's if you're working with passion. And you will know if you're not working with passion when you start being afraid of and stressed out for performance review. That tells you whether you're a leader of those coming up and those under you. It shows that you're leading people without passion. And you're letting your team stagnate and they're not passionate about your work. So you wait until that 6 months, that's when you tell them how bad they're doing. That's unhealthy. For that 6 months, you've been leaking vital energy, stressing, being displeased about their behavior. That's why coachable moments are there, right? You need to have those times to say, hey, let's chat about what's going on and how we can improve it. That's your job. And when you do that, you're so much more effective as a leader. And that's why I want you to look at passion as a real burnout fix for yourself as a professional, for your team as a leader, leading people, and how to build passion. I do an entire workshop on finding your passion, and building it into work. And we go granular into helping employees to identify things they can be passionate about in their work. And one of the things we have coming up is the resilience index, where employees get to actually measure how well they're doing and tie it back into their resilience and their burnout so they can identify the burnout fixes that they need to develop. And all this culminates into our resilience clinics and the way we work with you to build and to prosper at work without burning out, so you can have the energy to live an amazing, fabulous life. So thank you for being here with me today. And if you're looking for ways to fix the burnout in your workplace, in your team, and with your leaders or executive, go ahead and sign up for our upcoming Resilience Index. the challenge, the Burnout Fix Challenge, and let's explore some of those undiscovered or underutilized elements that we have every day that we can utilize so much more for us to be more resilient in our work and in our life. Joyce Odidison here, and this is the Resilience Catalyst Show. Thank you for being part of us. Those of you on Facebook and LinkedIn, thank you for your comment, for your chat and comments. I appreciate you. And let's stay tuned, and I'll see you next time. Bye now.